Elements that we thought that was like the most eye-catching and like because it was really emotional was the song, because like when we first watched it, like we both had like tears in our eyes and we was like, oh my god, this is so sad. That's what brought us to like, oh my god, we have to use this video, because we thought it was like proper emotional and like it just drawed our attention to it. And the story of Reflection was inspired by a tale of a man reflecting on his childhood as his adult life passed him by. Events dramatically reconnected him with who he always was and helped him to find the love that he thought he'd always lost. And it was a poetic and cinematic short film set to the music by I Am Clue. And then the filmmakers went back to set up a puppet theatre style shoot, filming separate puppet elements. So, for example, the cars and like this child was all like different puppets, and then they edited it and put it all together. And then this was a quote from the director Sharon Locke, and she said, when I was 14 years old or so, I used to hang out with a gang of petty criminals who lived near me. They were fun and I enjoyed spending time with them. I think they liked me because I taught them some acrobatics and we went roof running and things. Anyway, I went to the cinema with one of them one night and we saw The Accused. We came out of the cinema and my pal said, you know, I always used to think that if you raped a woman, she got to enjoy it a bit because she's getting free sex, right? But watching that film, I don't know now, maybe that's not right. Apart from being astounded by that, that was her attitude. I was really struck by how the film had made him think again about something as significant as rape. I think cinema's capacity to affect people is what initially drew me to it. And this, like the whole idea of her being at the cinema, that's when she got the idea of making the film.
We thought that the film Reflection followed Jodorowsky's theory because it had the equilibrium at the beginning where he's like on the train and everything seems normal, and then the disruption is when his mum dies, and we feel like the new equilibrium was when him and his mum are both in heaven. And I thought that was like, even though it's a very different new equilibrium, and some people might say it's not actually an equilibrium, but we thought it was quite a good thing in the end because he's with his mum again. Yeah. I don't know how to say his last name. Strauss's theory. We thought that the binary opposites that came in this film was safety versus danger when he gets like hit by the car when his mum dies, parent versus child, and life versus death. But we wasn't 100% sure if they were all correct. The stereotypes that we thought were in the film was the wedding ring on the mum's finger at the end. It was quite significant because there's no father present, so we don't, like, it was quite a stereotypical thing of a woman to have a wedding ring on but no father present. The blonde hair of the mum symbolises like her innocence as a mother, and I thought that the long polka dotted dress like symbolised elegance and like quite motherly thing to wear in like the time it was set, I believe. And the image with mum's wearing an apron, we thought this was quite symbolic of like a typical housewife, and like, yeah, she's like waiting for him to come home and she's already there waving and stuff like that, yeah. The film language, we thought the Misen scene was set on a train, and the second image here was quite significant because it's like going into a tunnel and it's like going into like one place and it's like quite dark, and we didn't know until that was actually quite the end of the film. And there's also when they're walking into heaven, well, what we believe is like heaven, it's like really bright and they're holding hands and it's like yellow and there's nothing around them apart from just them. The camera work, like you see like things, it's quite hard because it is a cartoon, but like the over shoulder shot of like his mum dying just so like it's right behind him and like in ways he could have stopped it. And the close up of the boy's face is just like really significant because he's like really sad and you can see his innocence also, like how young he is. And like the long shot of him riding the bike on his own, you can see that he's alone, and that kind of symbolises maybe how he feels now, his like loneliness without his mum.
We chose this film because of these reasons on the board, and we thought after watching, I think we watched about like 15 different short films, and we just thought this was the one. Although it was a cartoon, and not a lot of people pick cartoons to show as short films, we thought it was the most eye-catching, and we felt really sorry for the little boy. And at first, when we first watched it, we didn't understand what happened, and then we had to watch it about 3 times before we actually realised that that was the mum, and that he like basically tried to kill himself to try and get more close to his mother. and then this is the crew and all the people that was involved in making the film. And that's it. Thank you for watching our presentation.
Stay out there. Okay. Get real fights now. Right, Mayor Hall, comments and questions?
I think brilliant use of colour and images.
Yes.
That's what we need. Good presentation and also good clear voice. Olivia done well not reading off the sheet. And they explained the narrative theory.
Were they confident in everything they were explaining?
Yeah.
Everything. Do you feel they could have developed things? They said lovely sentences and I was like, yes. And then they went on to something else, didn't they? Did you notice that? Hayley?
Well, even when Julian was saying about making a picture film, like, she didn't look at all, she knew what she had to say already, she just said it.
Because it was coming from there.
Coming from the heart.
Yeah? Okay, that's, you know, that, when someone's presenting well, you've thought about it carefully, haven't you? Yeah, it's not something that's factual, that you're memorising, you're talking about your experience of when you watched it, it made you feel like this. That's not, it's not something you should read off, really, is it? Yeah? Any other comments or questions, Oliver?
Comments. Yeah, again, it was like good confidence, loud voice, and you used the audience in your presentation, like getting involved, asking them questions. So that was good.
What about, do you have any questions about anything they've said? Because I've got quite a few questions about what they've actually said. Maybe their theories, did you agree with their theories, or did you think they could have explained it a bit further? Or their analysis of film language?
Yeah, I agree with their theories, because that film was kind of confusing, so their theories helped me understand it more. So I didn't actually get it.
So you actually, from watching their presentation, you've learned and understood a bit more? Good, fantastic. Yeah, Kim.
I was just going to say that I think like they started well, like as soon as they explained like why they chose and everything, and then you got the audience engaged like straight away, so you weren't bored or anything. Like you was always interested for the whole presentation, and like both of them like they showed confidence and they didn't like look away. They always looked at everyone to make sure everyone was still interested in everything and after it.
What about pace as well?
They didn't speak too fast. Like
no.
It was a good pace and I understood everything they were saying.
Yeah, because I think a little bit with Aid and Mohammed, you know, where you're a little bit nervous, you tend to just want to rush through it all, don't you? Yeah. And that's the worst thing because I'm trying to catch your sentences a little bit more. But you've got to think about the speed. There is no rush because we're listening to everything you're saying. Yeah. Anything else? Yes, Paminda and then Mehul.
I think with the way they have the images back on the backs on the slides and stuff, kind of keeps the audience interactive. You know exactly what scene they're talking about and what's going on. It's not like it's just talking about a certain aspect of the film because they've seen it for 5 times. And like it kind of breaks it down for us so we know exactly what scene is being spoken about.
Mehul?
And I kind of think, I thought Georgina did rush the quote a bit.
Yes.
Yeah, I did.
I couldn't understand what she was saying, plus I couldn't see it.
Right, you had the quote behind you, really big block of text, but you were also reading off of it. So, I don't know if anyone else noticed that, but I didn't know whether or not you wanted me to read the slide or listen to you. In the end, I decided I'm going to listen to Georgina.
Okay.
Yeah? So, just think about the amount of text you've got on there. Shouldn't they?
I was going to say that they had evidence for every single explanation they were giving, like the mise en scène and everything. They had pictures along with it, so you don't keep referring to the film, but you listen to them and you look at the picture. So it's like the focus there.
Yeah.
And they use quite a lot of different languages.
Yes.
So that's good, like equilibrium and it reminded me of like all the visual.
Yeah, that's a good vision for you. Yeah. I mean, really, I think the animation, it does get like that.
Right.
The animation, I felt that you could have said a lot more about, you know, the actual mise en scène, you know, the actual, why was you drawn to it? Why is this animation beautiful? Because it is, isn't it? The way it's been made, and the music. You could have said about the lyrics as well. What they're saying?
I think if we could, I think after watching their one as well, I would like, and about your comments.
Sorry, can you leave?
I think we did something say that, or we should go back and put some bits in.
Just
because the music was to us the most important part, and we kind of like skipped that bit a bit maybe.
Right, because I've written down when I was a boy, that's a line from the,
Yeah.
So you could have said about that in terms of representation and reminiscing.
Yeah.
Because you asked us what you thought the image told us about the animation, but you didn't refer to the title. What is reflection? Yeah? Reflection is to think back, nostalgia, reminisce. Yeah? Good. Good place to take. Very good.
I think it's really focused on like